Hello, welcome to another Fantasy Football Tournament Series number 82, and this is the World Cup of Hosts, in which I have taken every single nation to have ever hosted a World Cup and put them into a tournament. Always coming up with new ideas, guys. So, it's exactly what it sounds like. Every nation to have held a World Cup on home soil is participating here. Now, in the 21 editions of the World Cup that have ever been held, there's been 17 host nations, with only a handful, like Mexico and France and Italy and Brazil, who have hosted the event more than once. And because there's an odd number, you guessed it, playoff spot to determine the other entrant. So it's going to be 4 groups of 4, group winners and runners-up advance, and to determine the 16th and final entrant, I took the lowest 2 ranked sides in my opinion, which are the USA, who hosted the 1994 World Cup, and South Africa, who hosted the 2010 World Cup. Now remember, this is not a historical tournament. All predictions are based upon how I perceive the teams to be now, presently. So, for example, you will not see Spain 1982 versus France 1998. Not the case. All teams as they are in 2019. Now, the FIFA rankings have USA as the 21st best team in the world, to which I just speechless. I think that's nowhere near the truth. I would be surprised if the US were even a top 40 or 45 nation presently. So that's why they're in this playoff spot against South Africa. Now, who will qualify for the main tournament to occupy position D4, as you see over here? All games take place in the host nation, which I have chosen to be Spain. And this is a one-off playoff, so there's no 2 legs or anything of the sort. So USA versus South Africa, objectively speaking, I think the US would have enough to beat Bafana here. I don't think they are a particularly outstanding team. Granted, they did make a surprise quarterfinalist run in the last African Cup of Nations, but I do think US, in a one-off game against South Africa, would turn up and would do enough to advance, to prevail. And I'm going to go with a 2-0 victory for the U.S. over South Africa. So USA qualifies for the main tournament, but look at the group that they're in. It's going to be quite difficult. So let's get to the main tourney itself. Host nation I've gone is Spain, as stated before. Group A, along with Mexico, Chile, and Switzerland. Group B is France, Italy, South Korea, and Uruguay. Group C is Brazil, Japan, Germany, and Russia. And Group D is England, Argentina, Sweden, and the USA. So, getting into the tournament. Spain versus Mexico in the opening match, and then Chile versus Switzerland. When I did the draw for this, I noticed that this group was eerily ominous to the 2010 World Cup group that Spain had, where they had Switzerland, Chile, and Honduras, a team from CONCACAF. And now here they have Mexico. Spain hosted the World Cup in 1982. They did not do particularly well, had one of the worst finishes of any host nation in history, with an exit in the round of 16. That performance on home soil included a loss to Northern Ireland. So it was not a good time for fans of La Roja, and especially for Naranjito, the mascot of that World Cup, the Smiling Orange. So in the opening game between Spain and Mexico, assuming this tournament takes place in 2019, look, we've seen Mexico in these kind of in tournaments. For some reason, they always rise to the occasion. In 2010, they defeated France in the World Cup group stages. They drew with host nation Brazil in the 2014 World Cup group stages, and they defeated Germany, the defending world champions, last year in Russia 2018. So I would very much so expect to see Mexico seek an opening game stunner, and I'm going to go for it. A 1-0 victory for Mexico over Spain, a goal by Herving Chucky Lozano. In the other game between Chile and Switzerland, when these two teams met each other in 2010, Chile were victorious 1-0. This time around, I'm going with a 2-1 victory for Switzerland. We have Spain versus Switzerland, Mexico versus Chile. Spain versus Chile, Switzerland versus Mexico. Spain versus Chile. I expect the host nation will bounce back after an opening loss and pick up a 2-0 victory over Chile. And Switzerland versus Mexico. I would love to see Mexico take this, but I could see them diverting back to their habit of playing to the level of their opponent, as we saw on display most recently in the last World Cup. And this would be a draw. I would think this would be a 1-1 draw between Switzerland and Mexico. Then we have the final group game, Mexico versus Chile, and Switzerland versus Spain. Switzerland versus... Mexico versus Chile. Chile defeated Mexico 7-0 in the 2016 Copa America Centenario. Mexico gets revenge here. Tata Martino's men. I will go with a high-scoring 3-2 victory for Mexico. And between Switzerland and Spain, funny, Switzerland defeated Spain in the 2010 World Cup, the same tourney that Spain went on to win. Remember, I said the draw for this was very ominously similar to that World Cup. It's kind of funny how it worked out that way. But here on home soil, Spain, I will pick to defeat Switzerland, and they will do so 3-1. So, Mexico tops the group with 7 points. Spain comes in second, the host nation, with 6 points. Switzerland comes in with 4 points. And Chile, last, on 0 points. I do think, sort of on the waning years of their golden generation. Yeah, they got to the semis of the last Copa America, but it doesn't take much to reach the semis of the Copa America, especially if you finish as one of the best runners-up or third-place teams. So, yeah. Spain and Mexico go through in the opposite order. Moving on to the next group, we have France versus Italy, South Korea versus Uruguay. This is a tournament that I think would produce a lot of unconventional wisdom here, as you'll see, as I already did with my Mexico-Spain predictions. France versus Italy, I'm going with a 2-0 victory for France. And between South Korea and Uruguay, I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw here. I think the Koreans would get something. France versus South Korea, Uruguay versus Italy. Going with a 4-1 victory for the current world champions France. Between Uruguay and Italy, bit of a history between these teams, but I think in the last few outings, Uruguay has had the upper hand over the Italians, and I'm going to go with a narrow 1-0 victory for Uruguay over Italy. Then we have Italy versus South Korea, Uruguay versus France. Going with a 3-0 victory for Italy over South Korea. They'll remember many Italians feel they were wronged from the 2002 World Cup. 3-0 for Italy over South Korea. Between Uruguay and France, I'm going with a little bit of an upset here. I think Uruguay will win this match. I don't know if I've ever stated this before on my channel, but I rate Uruguay quite highly. I mean, I hold them in high regard. And I'll take that further by saying If Cavani doesn't get injured in that match against Portugal in the World Cup, I think it completely changes the dynamic of that quarterfinal game. That's just me. Do with that what you will. But I'm going with Uruguay to win this game. And they will do so 2-1. So Uruguay tops the group on 7 points. France comes in second on 6 points. Italy comes in third on 3 points. South Korea comes in last on 1 point. So Italy and South Korea are out. Uruguay and France go through. Brazil versus Japan in Group C. Germany and Russia. What's that song by Eminem, Lose Yourself? That the part in the lyrics where it goes like, oh, there goes gravity, snap back to reality. Yeah, well, no upsets in this group, guys. Brazil beats Japan in the opening game, and I'll say they do it 4-1. Germany defeats Russia 2-0. Oh, what an interesting one this would be, wouldn't it? Brazil versus Germany. I think we all know why. Somebody in the comment section tell me why Brazil versus Germany would be an interesting matchup. Well, I got news for you. If Germany had survived the World Cup group stages last year, I think they would have been sent to Venus and back by Brazil in the knockout stages. They would have gotten revenge for 2014's humiliation. And I'm going to predict here what I think would have happened if Germany had survived South Korea in the group stages before inevitably getting decapitated by Brazil in a very emotionally charged game for Brazil. And the meaning that this would have, and the fluctuating form that Germany are in, I'm going to say 5-1. 5-1 win for Brazil over Germany here. Complete decimation. Russia versus Japan, going with a 2-1 victory for Russia. Japan got a very, very difficult group. A harsh draw for Japan, but that is the luck of the draw. So the next games would be Japan versus Germany and Russia versus Brazil. Well, I'm going to go with a 3-1 victory for Germany over Japan and just a 2-0 victory for Brazil over Russia. But because Germany beat Japan and Russia, Germany does finish second in this group. So Joachim Löw keeps his job, somehow still, inconceivably. Brazil tops the group with 9 points. Germany in second with 6 points, though I gotta say, beating two teams that you should beat and then getting destroyed by a team that you should be on their level but currently are not because you are going through the works, would sort of feel like a Pyrrhic victory. It would basically feel like Germany were knocked out. But that's just me. Russia on 3 points, Japan on 0 points. Sorry, Japan, you're a good team, but it's a very hard group. So Brazil and Germany go through. But Germany goes through with their tails tucked between their legs, in all honesty. England versus Argentina in Group D. And Sweden versus the USA. Oh, what a brutal group for the US. But then again, if you're a US men's fan, pretty much any group nowadays would be brutal. So England versus Argentina. The Falkland Wars rivalry reignited from the 80s, huh? Last time these two guys met in a competitive game, I believe, was the 2002 World Cup group stages where England were victorious. I gotta be honest with you, I would pick England to win this match here as well. Going with a 2-1 victory for the Three Lions. Between Sweden and the USA, I don't want us to end the group on 0 points, so I'm going with a 1-1 draw between Sweden and the US. England versus Sweden. USA versus Argentina. So, between England and Sweden, historically speaking, Sweden have been England's boogie team. Up until that is, of course, when that was broken in Euro 2012. I believe also in the last World Cup in the quarterfinals. But prior to 2012, England hadn't beaten Sweden in 43 years, and they were long considered to be England's boogie team. Even though they've gotten the better of Sweden the last 2 times they've met, I don't think England would get the full 9 points from this group. So I'm going to go with the draw here, 0-0 between England and Sweden would be the kind of team that would grind out a result like that. Between the USA and Argentina, USA would be completely outclassed, unfortunately. And I'm going to go with a 4-0 victory for Argentina. And then the last group games, we have Argentina versus Sweden and USA versus England. Argentina versus Sweden. Guys, I'm going to go with... See, Argentina is very, very easily stifled by defensive teams. And I'm looking at Paraguay, I'm looking at Iceland, and I'm thinking Sweden's better than both. Damn it, Sweden. Sweden's going to get another draw here, aren't they? It's going to be another draw. It's going to be a 1-1 draw, too. And Sweden's going to end this group on 3 draws, which would be, I think, a very Swedish thing to do. Not enough to go through, but still undefeated. I'm going with a 1-1 draw between Sweden and Argentina. And between USA and England, I'm going with a 2-0 win for England to wrap up the group and top it on 7 points. So England wins the group on 7 points. Argentina comes in second on 4 points. Sweden in third on 3 points, but they took no prisoners. They went undefeated. They pulled a New Zealand, basically. They pulled a New Zealand. And USA in last on 1 point, though I think the 1 point for USA is generous. England and Argentina go through the next round. So the quarterfinals, I have surprise Group A winners. Mexico versus team that stumbled in Group B. France, runners-up. Also have Group C winners, Brazil versus Group D runners-up, Argentina. Look at that, Brazil, Argentina. Oh, man. Group B winners, Uruguay versus Group A runners-up and host nation, Spain. Group D winners, England versus Group C runners-up, Germany. So these are the quarterfinals. Yeah, these are the quarterfinals. So Mexico versus France. You know, I thought Mexico had a great chance of getting to that Quinto Partido in 2018. But they couldn't follow up that enormous victory over the Germans with just a draw. Just a draw against Sweden to top that group and get Switzerland in the round of 16, which would have been much preferable to Brazil. But they kind of wasted that opportunity. And I can see the knockout stage, Mexico coming into form here. And they did well to win their group and upset the host nation in the opening game. But France is going to win this game. France wins this match by a scoreline of 2-0 for France. Yeah, so sorry Mexico is out. Brazil versus Argentina. We know how that ends. Brazil wins this match. They'll win this game 3-1. I'll give Argentina a goal. 3-1. Uruguay versus Spain. Spain. Okay, I want to say a quick note about Spain. Of all the top-tiered national teams in the world right now, they're the most frustrating to assess because ever since the whole Lopetegui nonsense on the eve of the World Cup last year, they've been kind of in and out. They flopped their Nations League group, where they took an early lead on 6 points by losing their last 2 games. But they started out so well in an otherwise difficult group with England and Croatia, and I really felt that this was a side that heading into the World Cup in 2018, they looked really good. They were in stellar form. I thought they would reach this, possibly reach the semifinals. But it just threw them off, and it was a destabilizing factor in that squad. And even though Spain comes in clutch in qualifying, and they usually amass maximum points in qualifying, the last few years, ever since the Del Bosque years have come to a close, they just haven't been themselves. The quality is still there. Tiki-taka's not fully gone. It's just evolved. But something's missing with Spain. They're missing something that clicks for them. But am I going to pick them to go out in the quarterfinals on home soil here? No. They're going to win this match, and they will win it 1-0 over Uruguay. It won't be convincing, but they'll beat Uruguay 1-0. Spain still strikes me as a team that is I would still consider them a top 5 or 6 national team in the world, with potential to become the best in the world again one day. But they're just there's something off about Spain currently. But hold off on that thought, because home soil, I think that can take them to great heights, especially in a tournament like this when they're playing against teams on the same level as them. That could come crucial down the line. England versus Germany. I know England gets a lot of hate, a lot of banter, but right now, England, I'm not a betting person, but I would favor England over Germany, over this German team. So I'm going to pick England to win this match, and I think they'll keep a clean sheet. And I think it'll be a modestly solid win, a 2-0 win for England here. 2-0 win for England over Germany, and I do not apologize for that. So the semifinals, we have France versus Brazil, and host nation Spain versus England. Here are the semifinals. France versus Brazil, the world champions versus Brazil. Difficult game to call. Very difficult game. But I'm going to go with a victory for Brazil here. I know that Copa America does not give Brazil European opposition, but I'm not entirely convinced by this French team. Nations League wise, so far Euro 2020 qualifying, the loss to Turkey, in which Didier Deschamps voiced concern in the post-match press conference, I'm a little bit doubtful about where France is right now. And I've said time and time again, I think almost every single video that I've had that involves France, I maintain the position that France won the World Cup in second gear. They looked convincing in maybe 2 out of those 7 games they played. Not joking. Man per man, absurdly stacked. Probably the best team in the world. But I do question whether or not sooner or later France will have the Joachim Löw effect with Deschamps that Germany is having with Löw. Because you say, hold on a second, apples and oranges. Well, not really. I mean, Joachim Löw has been there since 2006 for Germany. Deschamps has been there since 2012, 2013 for France. So he's been there for 6 or 7 years now. And I am of the belief that once a manager is in charge for a certain extended period of time, what they have to contribute to the national team stagnates at some point. And I do think also that France were undercoached in Russia 2018. I think largely that team was victorious because of the sheer numbers on their squad. So I'm going to go with I know France usually gets the better of Brazil in international competition, but I'm going to go with a victory here for Brazil, and it'll be by a scoreline of, I'm just going to say 1-0, because I think it'll be that tight. So Brazil over France, and France into the third place game. Now, Spain versus England. They split the points the last 2 times they played. They shared the spoils, rather. Spain defeated England in England, and England defeated Spain. They returned the favor in Spain, which included a 3-0 halftime lead in Valencia in the Nations League. So, this is a game that could pretty much, you could make a cogent case for either Spain or England. And while England has beaten Spain away from home most recently, late last year, if this was held anywhere else but Spain, I might pick England. But I'm going to pick the host nation to come through this game. And they will win this match 2-1 over the Three Lions. So, you know what's really interesting, guys, is my final could be my third place game. And my third place game could be my final. Because you can make a really strong argument for either one of these 4 teams to win this tournament. And that really speaks to the golden age and the depth of international football, especially among the best teams in the world currently. But yeah, this is what I have. So, the third place match between France and England, 2 World Cup semi-finalists, one of them the World Cup finalist and current world champions. I will pick France to come over to win this over England by scoreline. I'm going to say this game will be a 1-1 draw, and France will win on penalties. Hugo Lloris makes a couple of saves. Harry Kane actually misses a penalty. France will win third place. England will finish in fourth, just like they finished in the World Cup. Now, the final I have is Brazil versus Spain. And I gotta be honest with you. I don't think Spain is one of the 2 best national teams in the world. I think this is just an example of how far home field advantage can take you, especially when you are already on a similar level as those other teams that are in proximity to you in the rankings. But I'm going to say this. If this tournament took place and if Spain got this far, I think the home field advantage would galvanize them to go the full distance. I really do. I know I picked them to have that opening match day loss to Mexico, but that's because he had to throw a couple of wrenches into the system. I do think Spain would rise to the occasion, especially if they got to this point. Do I see Spain losing a final in Spain? No, I don't. And with just the quality of the team itself, I don't think it's an outlandish call to say I think Spain would win this tournament. And in a sense, I think Spain would rectify the ghost of 1982 in this hypothetical scenario. very disappointing World Cup performance. And in the World Cup, Cup of Hosts, and Spain hosting, I think that gives them the edge. So Spain wins this tournament. And I'm going to go with just a 1-0 victory over Brazil. 1-0 victory. So Spain wins, the host nation. Spain wins, quite appropriately, the World Cup Cup of Hosts. Brazil's in second. France is in third. England's in fourth. Leave a comment below, like, subscribe. Hopefully I'll see you soon, God willing. Until then, as always, have a good one. Much love. Peace out.